Hi, I'm Tatenda and I would like to welcome you to the Lesson in 5. Lesson in 5 is a weekly program where we summarize the Sabbath School Lesson into 5 main points. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that notification button because you don't want to miss out on any of our future videos. This week, the lesson is the Bible as prophecy. Prophecy is a key pillar in our understanding and interpretation of the Bible. Through prophecy, we're able to see God at work not only in the past, but even in the present. Prophecy also helps to affirm our faith in the Bible. And this week, we're going to be looking at some of the key pillars in interpreting prophecy. Historicism and prophecy. One of the key pillars, or one of the key things in the Adventist understanding of prophecy, is historicism. Historicism is the understanding that prophecy follows a linear kind of model. It starts from the time of the prophet and extends all the way until the coming of Jesus Christ. This here is validated by reading Daniel chapter 2, that key prophetic passage where where Nebuchadnezzar sees this image and the dream is later revealed to Daniel, and it shows empire coming after empire from Babylon, right from the time of Daniel, and then we go through different world empires until the second coming of Jesus Christ. And we believe this is the same pattern that is followed by many other prophecies as well. The year-day principle. As we study prophecy, one of the principles that we have is one day represents a year. Ezekiel 4 verse 6 and Numbers 14 verse 34 demonstrate this principle. One day represents a year. As we study the prophecies in the book of Daniel, we see this principle validated because these prophecies point to successive kingdoms. And as we use the year-day principle, it all kind of works out to see the different empires and where they begin and where they end. So it's an important part of our understanding of Bible prophecy that one day represents 1 year. Identifying the little horn. As we read Daniel 7 and Daniel 8, there's an infamous little horn that grows among other horns. And this little horn can be identified through historicism. When you look at history and you look at the characteristics of this horn, that it rises up, persecutes God's people, it also speaks pompous words against the Most High. This little horn is identified as papal Rome, that arose from pagan Rome. And we see the activities of this little horn confirmed by history, because papal Rome persecuted the church, also sought to replace God as the forgiver of sins. The investigative judgment. As we read the book of Daniel, we find a prophetic timeline that extends 2,300 days. But remember, we spoke about the year-day principle, so this is 2,300 years. And it begins from a decree to rebuild Jerusalem. So these days, or these years, extend from that decree and go all the way through history, and they culminate in 1844. What happens in this time is Jesus enters into the most holy place, and it's a time period that we call the investigative judgment. When Jesus comes the second time, he's going to be giving his reward to all the faithful, an executive judgment, a sentencing, so to speak. Before this happens, there must be an investigative judgment, and this is what Daniel is speaking about. Typology as prophecy. As we study the Bible, we find an interesting form of prophecy, which is typology. As we read apocalyptic literature, symbols have one specific historical fulfillment. The symbol points to one thing in particular. The head of gold points to Babylon and nothing else. As we study, however, the Bible, there's also typology. Typology is where a person, an individual, or an event that happened in the past is used to point to something in the future. And this happens time and time again. When you read in the book of Corinthians, for example, Paul points to the Exodus and the experience of the children of Israel crossing the Red Sea as a type for baptism. As you read, Jesus speaks about Jonah being buried 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a whale as a type for his death, burial, and resurrection. And the examples are numerous. We have many examples of types and an anti-type. These types form an interesting part of our interpretation of the Bible and form and make the Bible living and active in our lives. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the lesson in 5. If you've enjoyed our video, remember to share, like, and subscribe. Also, check out our Patreon if you'd like to support the work we are doing here at Kukura. God bless you. Until next week.